In 550 BCE, a king named Cyrus the Great conquered his neighbors, the Medes, and founded what would become the largest empire the world had ever seen. At its height, it stretched from Greece in the west to the borders of India in the east, from the shores of Egypt to the steppes of Central Asia. It ruled over 40% of the entire world's population, more than any empire before it, more than any empire after it. This was the Achaemenid Persian Empire. And to understand what it felt like to live inside it, you have to walk its cities. We begin in Susa, one of the oldest cities on Earth, continuously inhabited since 4000 BCE. By 500 BCE, it is the administrative heartbeat of the empire. The city where the king spends his winters, where decrees are issued, where the business of governing a world is conducted daily. Most people here wake before sunrise. The streets are narrow, lined with single-story houses of sun-dried mud brick. By the time the morning light hits the plain, the city is already moving. The majority of people in Susa are workers. Farmers tend small plots along ancient canal systems that have fed this land for millennia. In workshops, craftsmen shape bronze, leather, and lapis lazuli imported from Afghanistan. Merchants prepare their stalls. Scribes bend over clay tablets, recording the endless flow of imperial administration. What makes Persia unusual for its time is how it pays these workers. Not in coins, but in wine and grain. Ration tablets recovered from Persepolis show that skilled workers received more than unskilled ones. And remarkably, men and women doing the same work received roughly equal rations. In a world of ancient empires, this was extraordinary. The Bazaar of Susa is unlike anything else in the ancient world. Babylonians, Egyptians, Indians, and Greeks all trade under one imperial sky. Spices arrive from India. Silk comes overland from China. Gold and silver flow in from mines in Persia and Anatolia. The Persians have introduced a standardized currency, the gold darik and the silver siglos, making commerce across this vast territory possible in a way it never had been before. The empire doesn't just tolerate this diversity. It is built on it. Persian society is layered from top to bottom. At the base are enslaved workers, though Persian slaves lived and were treated better than slaves nearly anywhere else in the ancient world. Above them, free peasants and farmers. Then artisans and craftsmen. Then merchants and scribes. Then nobles, priests, and warriors. And above all of them, the King of Kings. His power is absolute. Those granted an audience must prostrate themselves on the ground. Servants approaching him cover their mouths so that even their breath does not defile his presence. But for most people in Susa, life is simpler than all of this. Breakfast is bread made from barley. Lunch might be a bowl of lentil stew with figs and dates. Dinner, if the harvest has been good, perhaps a little goat or lamb. Life is hard, but it is organized. And in the Persian Empire, organization is everything. Now travel north. Into the mountains. As summer arrives and the Mesopotamian plain becomes unbearable, the Persian court does what any sensible empire would do. It moves. Ecbatana. Perched high in the Zagros Mountains at an elevation that keeps it cool when everywhere else is burning. This city was already ancient when Cyrus conquered it in 550 BCE. It had been the capital of the Medes for over a century before that. The Greek historian Herodotus described it with awe. 7 concentric walls, one inside the other, each painted a different color: white, black, crimson, blue, orange, and the innermost 2 coated in silver and gold. Whether every detail of his description is accurate we cannot be certain. But the impression Ecbatana made on everyone who saw it was unmistakable. This was a city built to overwhelm. Ecbatana is not just a summer retreat for the wealthy. It is the empire's memory. Its vaults hold the royal archive, decades of correspondence, legal codes, and royal decrees pressed into clay. The Cyrus cylinder, arguably the world's first declaration of human rights, was part of this tradition of recorded imperial policy. Cyrus' decree that conquered peoples could keep their religions, their customs, their languages. When he conquered Babylon, he freed the Jewish people who had been held in captivity there and allowed them to return home to Jerusalem. This is why Cyrus the Great is the only non-Jewish figure in the Hebrew Bible to be called a Messiah. Information moves through this empire faster than anywhere in the ancient world. Darius the Great built a royal road stretching 2,500 kilometers from Susa all the way to Sardis on the Aegean coast. Along it, at regular intervals, are relay stations stocked with fresh horses and riders. A message can cross the entire empire in just 15 days. Herodotus, astonished by this system, wrote that nothing in the world travels faster than these Persian couriers. It is a postal system that will not be matched for another 2,000 years. And woven through every city, every household, every moment of daily life is faith. The Persians follow Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest surviving religions, and one of the most influential. Its central teaching is the eternal struggle between Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Wisdom and Light, and the forces of darkness and chaos. The sacred fire must never be extinguished. The Magi, the priestly class who tend the flames, wear white to embody purity and cover their mouths near the sacred fire so their breath cannot corrupt it. These are the same Magi who appear in later Christian legend as the wise men who followed a star. Zoroastrianism's ideas about a cosmic battle between good and evil, about judgment after death, about a final reckoning, would flow directly into Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The religion practiced in these mountain fire temples shaped the spiritual imagination of half the modern world. Now come south, to the valley of Mavdasht, to a city the rest of the world doesn't even know exists. Persepolis. The Persians called it Parsa, city of the Persians. The Greeks, when they finally found it, called it Persepolis, city of Persia. Darius the Great began building it around 518 BCE, carving an enormous terrace of stone out of the base of a mountain and raising on top of it a complex of palaces so grand, so remote, so secret that it served as the empire's treasury, its ceremonial heart, and its most sacred space all at once. The Greeks had no idea it existed until Alexander the Great stumbled upon it in 330 BCE. What he found left him speechless. Every spring, at Nowruz, the Persian New Year, the most spectacular gathering in the ancient world takes place here. Delegates arrive from every corner of the empire. Egyptians carrying gold vessels. Armenians leading magnificent horses by the bridle. Indians with sacks of precious goods. Scythian nomads in their distinctive cavalry trousers, a garment they invented that would eventually be worn across the entire world. Nubians with exotic animals. Greeks in their short tunics. All of them climbing the grand staircases of Persepolis, carved into the stone on either side with their own likenesses, 23 nations, each represented in perfect detail, each bringing tribute to the King of Kings. The audience hall they enter is called the Apadana. Nothing on earth looks like this. 72 columns of stone, each 65 feet high, supporting a roof of cedar brought from Lebanon. The hall covers 11,000 square feet. When the king sits on his golden throne at the far end, flanked by guards holding spears, the effect is not just impressive. It is designed to make every visitor feel the absolute weight of Persian power. And yet what is carved on the walls of this hall is not scenes of conquest or war. It is this, a procession of peoples, equal in dignity, each contributing to something larger than themselves. It is a vision of empire as cooperation, as civilization. Outside the palace walls, the Persians have created something else that will outlast them. A garden. Not a wild garden, but a formal, walled garden of geometric waterways, flowering trees, and shaded walkways. The Persians called it a paradisa, an enclosed paradise. The word traveled from Old Persian into Greek, then Latin, then into every major European language. When you use the word paradise today, you are speaking a word invented in ancient Persia to describe a garden. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great marched on Persepolis. The city surrendered. Then, according to ancient sources, during a night of celebration, fire broke out in the cedar-roofed palaces. Whether it was deliberate or accidental, historians still debate. What is not debated is the result. the greatest ceremonial complex in the ancient world, burned. The Roman historian Plutarch wrote that Alexander needed 20,000 mules and 5,000 camels just to carry away its treasure. An empire that had ruled 40% of humanity was gone in a single season. But Persia could not be burned. Its legal codes became the foundation of Iranian law. Its royal road became a template for the Silk Road that would connect east and west for 1,000 years. Its postal system, its tolerance of religious diversity, its concept of human rights inscribed on a clay cylinder, all of it survived the fire. The gardens of Persepolis gave the world its word for heaven. The fire temples of Ecbatana shaped the spiritual imagination of billions of people who never heard the name Zoroaster. The bazaars of Susa established patterns of multicultural trade that still define the Middle East today. Standing in the ruins of Persepolis now, looking at those stone reliefs, the faces of 23 nations still watching, still waiting, you realize you are looking at something the ancient world achieved only once. An empire that believed diversity was a strength. That believed different peoples, different faiths, different languages could all exist under one sky. It lasted 200 years. It changed everything, and then it burned. If there's another ancient city, another lost empire, or another forgotten civilization you'd like to walk through, let us know in the comments. And if you love documentaries like this one, support us by subscribing to our channel, like this video and share with your loved one. Thank you for watching.